If you've been keeping tabs on Monsters and Memories, we just got a massive info dump covering beta, early access, content expectations, invite waves, the whole roadmap. So let's break down exactly what's happening and what you should realistically expect going into June. Monsters and Memories beta begins March 1st, and beta is going to run roughly for 3 months, and then the game's going to transition into early access in June of 2026. So that's the general timeline for beta. If you're interested in getting into the beta, you'll need to go opt in on the website through your account, and they'll be sending out 200 invites per week for 10 weeks, and each invite will include a friend invite. So that's about 4,000 additional players entering the closed beta, and there's also around 2,000 alpha testers automatically transitioning into the beta. Something to note is if the friend invites aren't getting utilized, I'm not sure how they're going to be doing this. Based on my understanding, they will send out more invites to kind of hit that server population target that they're looking for per week. But I don't foresee this being a problem. I'm pretty sure these friend invites are going to be used up, and we won't see a lack of beta testers because of them. In beta, we're going to have access to fresh start PvE server, PvP server. There's going to be no boxing, and they're going to be really cracking down on botting and a lot of the policies to enforce people to just be nice. Just be nice to each other, guys. The most important part for me is that they're allowing everyone to stream, make content, expose the game as much as possible during this phase. I like this a lot. This means that if I don't get a beta invite, I don't feel excluded from the community because I can just pull up someone's stream, or I can partake in the media that's being made for the beta. I don't feel like an outsider that's missing out on the swing set at recess. I'm not a part of the cool kid club. And this inclusivity excites me. So I'm a huge fan of allowing us to make content during the beta phase. It's very exciting. It's going to allow a lot of content creators to grow their channels early on. And it's just going to give us something, a new scope. We can see this game being played through so many different lenses, and we can get so many perspectives early on leading up to early access. With that being said, they are asking the alpha testers to not just be sharing, in-game information and things that we're looking forward to as newer players, which I think is extremely fair. As I mentioned, June 1st is the date that they are setting for early access. And I think this is probably where we need to start resetting expectations, because as far as Sean stated on his stream, the world is roughly 20% built out. And that can sound a little off-putting at first, but here's what that actually means. There is absolutely enough content to get from level 1 to level 60, but obviously they're still going to be refining a lot of the high-end encounters and expanding on them going into early access. So where I think that we as the community might need to reset our brains is really taking a page out of Sean's book and stopping and smelling the roses, so to speak. Journey before destination if you're a Brandon Sanderson fan. Because I think if you do go hard enough, you will hit a wall of content eventually, and that's just not speculation, that is a reality of the state of the game. But with that being said, they've accomplished a lot in 6 years. Early access is launching with 27 zones, and they're trying to get module 1 in within a few months of early access. So we'll get the deep elves, deep gnomes, and 6 new zones, and they'll be sort of expanding the world in modules thereafter. But yeah, early access is going to be content bound in certain ways, and they're not really pretending otherwise. They've openly said that if people grind too hard, they might exhaust available content, which I think leads to something really important. There's no expectation that you participate in early access. It doesn't really even sound like they want your sub fee if you're not okay with some bumps along the road. Early access is going to be, those rough edges, balance adjustments, growing pains, and we'll be sometimes waiting for these module-based expansions. If that sounds frustrating to you, then you can just wait for 1.0, but it's likely years away. Early access is not a finished MMO, and that distinction I think is really important.
Keep in mind you're going into the beta of a unfunded, all volunteer based indie MMO that is doing a beta for early access. Keep in mind that we've got a lot of work ahead of us. I'm not trying to talk it down. I'm not trying to dismiss our work. I think what we've done has been insane. Like I said, companies with funding sometimes don't make it this far. But but we know all of the stuff that we want to do, I guess is what I'm saying. We have a lot of stuff in mind. We have a big world that we want to get out there for you guys, and it's but we try to keep it humble, and we just try to like do what we can do and keep our scope realistic and stay focused and just keep getting shit done. And all of this is, if you guys show up and we're able to just like transition this into being some folks' jobs and stuff, and you guys let us just keep grinding on the game for you. It's going to take a little bit, but we're going to continue to improve it. We're going to continue to make the world bigger. What you've seen so far, yeah, is about 20% of what we have mapped out. And our thing is just we're approaching this as we do what we can do. And so instead of trying to promise you, 8 continents and naval battles and all this crazy shit, like we're just telling you like, hey, this is what we're able to do now. But if you stick with us and if you like what we're doing, we'll keep making it better. You know, we'll continue to add more content, all of that stuff.
But here's where it gets interesting for me. They've had 6 years of development. They have kept an extremely reasonable scope. They have had the lowest costs of any MMO I've ever seen in 6 years. And it's completely volunteer driven. That's obviously why. But now they want to start introducing optional cash flow. They're not telling you, hey, you have to play early access. It's not mandatory. But with this cash flow, they're going to start transitioning into paid development timelines. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be like doubling their output overnight. They're not trying to create miracles here. They're just trying to scale responsibly, I think is the best way to put it. And if this works, and if a smaller team like this can build a sustainable MMO at this reasonable of a cost without some massive publisher, without hyper monetization, and without pretending early access is 1.0 and all these insane promises, I think this could change the genre. It also just proves that you don't need $200 million bankroll to get something like this accomplished. They're allowed to rely on the community for funds throughout this if we're invested enough. And they've, since day one, had an extremely clear philosophy and transparency. And Sean even mentioned posting these funds that they're making onto the website so that we can see where our money's going. Just like we're the shareholders. The consumer is this board of directors. This is, I've never seen anything like this. And because this is how they treat their customer base, this is just one of those examples, again, where I feel extremely comfortable looking forward to this project. And they have my vote of confidence because of how much they seem to care. I think this is just leaps and strides for the MMO genre, and the way that they're handling this is admirable. So yeah. I hope to see you guys in the beta test, and if I don't make it in, I will see you guys June 1st for early access. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.